guys, welcome back to my channel. Snappy Nikki here. Today I'm going to talk about well, I guess it's a response video to Joulzey's aftermath of being a rape victim. I have not unfortunately gotten her book yet, which I will do. Sorry, Joulzey. You have to support smart brown girls. And but in that video, if you haven't seen it, I will link it down below in the description box. But if you haven't seen it, she just talks about her encounter with being a rape victim and the aftermath of that, and just some of the things she's realized since the incident, since she's wrote her book, and things that we can do to encourage other young women and men to recognize if this has happened to them, and how to handle it. So I'm not sure. I believe way back in the day I expressed or told my story about being a rape victim, and I don't really talk about it that much. It's not something that I'm ashamed to talk about, I'm afraid to talk about. It's just something that doesn't really come up that often, and I don't really haven't really found a way to incorporate that into my channel. And but I thought that doing a response video to her most recent video for Smart Brown Girl Thursday would be a really good way to ease into that and to just create more awareness to this issue. So if you've read my blog or if you've seen the past videos, just to give a backstory, I was raped at the age of 12 by a family member, someone I knew very closely, and someone who was, you know, was family. And it was a really weird situation. And just to give you an idea of what happened, he and I think his girlfriend at the time came up to Maryland from the South to start over a new life. So they stayed with us, and it ended up where his girlfriend stayed at one family member's house and he stayed at our house. No one thought anything of it. You know, we've known them for years, and we didn't think that anything, you know, odd would come of it. And so I think it was around the summertime when most of it happened. But it would start off with regular things like, you know, uncomfortable conversations, and then it started moving on to, you know, looking more and being more of like a peeping Tom, but in-home peeping Tom. And then it would go to touching, and then eventually it, you know, went all the way to I don't even know the correct term to say this, but just sexual. It turned to be sexual, to where there was to where he had inserted himself in me. This went on for about 4 months, I want to say, and it was probably obviously the worst 4 months of my life. But it was kept very quiet. It was always when my mom or sisters weren't around. It was either late at night, or it was summer. It was during the summer. So did we get 4 months off for the summer? Something like that. So it'd always be around the time where I was at home most of the time. I wasn't in summer camp or anything like that. And yeah, so it sucked. And I'm the oldest of 4 girls, so that's just what happened. I developed early, so those things were there, and a lot of it was more of a mind game. I was definitely under his control, and the fact that I didn't feel comfortable or safe to tell my mom because I didn't think she'd believe me. You know, he'd say that he'd tell her I was lying, or he would say that, I'll harm you if you don't do anything. So it did get to a point to where it was it reached a certain level of, okay, this has got to stop. And I think that was when he started like doing things to me while my sisters were laying next to me or in a closet, or he tried to stick his member in my butt area. So it was really it was too much. So it didn't stop because my mom called him or I told or anything like that, but it stopped because he just got kicked out of our home, and because of other reasons, like he didn't find a job or something like that. So needless to say, I was ecstatic, but the aftermath, which is what the video is about, is what did the most damage, because I'm now 27 or turning 27 on Monday, and I still deal with it. And I'm getting married next month, and it's something that I'm just gonna have to that I now have to put on someone else. And yeah, so we're talking about the aftermath of being a rape victim, and like Joulzey, I made notes from Joulzey's video because a lot of it was so true, and a lot of it I could really understand and connect with. But one of them, her first one thing she said was, you were forced immediately to feel like a victim of something, and especially you're put in a position to where you have literally no control, and at the time you're thinking like, what? Like, so this isn't normal. Like, that's kind of the thing that goes through your head. And my mom has always had those conversations, says don't let anyone touch you in your private area and thing, this or that, but you just never think like, but if it does happen, what do I do? And when you're 12, even though I'm the oldest, I wasn't really conscious of the things that were happening. Like, I wasn't really, it was more so, I did do a lot of thinking of how can I get out of it, and I came up with every excuse in the book, but a lot of it just really didn't, a lot of it just didn't work. Sometimes it did, but eventually, he was a lot bigger and stronger than I was. He was 21, I was 12, or he was definitely over 20, and I was 12. So that gives you a good idea of who had the most power in the situation. And Joulzey mentioned the constant struggles of feeling like a victim. In most cases, you can feel like a victim in a car accident, and you fell down the stairs or something, but in this case, it's like someone literally, it's not like you're a victim of like car theft, or like Joulzey mentioned, someone breaking into your home. You're literally like, they just took your body, like something that you should have all control over, something that, I should have complete say-so over. And at that time, I had no say-so. Like, I had no control over what my body did or where it went or how it, like, none of that stuff, because I had this person in my head and in front of me, making sure that I knew that at that time I was his, and that's how it's gonna be. It's a really, especially at a young age, and I don't understand it in the mindset of an adult, because from Joulzey's story, hers happened as she was over 21, because she mentioned something about at a party or something, and it's hard either way, but I can't imagine what it'd be like as an adult to know that it's wrong and to still not be able to do anything, to still not be able to have some type of strength or some type of still not be able to deal with it, so, or to take more force into it. A lot of it, she also mentioned that people, we find it easy to figure out what we did wrong. It happened when I was 12. I didn't tell my mother until I was 18. I spent 6 years trying to figure out, okay, am I wearing something wrong? Am I walking a certain way? Am I being too friendly? Is my friendliness coming off as flirting? I was 12. I didn't know anything about flirting at the time. Is my body too big, or is something protruding more than others? Am I hit, like, I tried to think of anything that would that could signify that this is my fault. And I mean, for years I would wear baggy really big oversized shirts and wear loose pants. I hated my butt. I was trying to say bottom, but at the same time, but I hated my butt. I hated my breast. I hated my hip. Like, I hated everything that had showed femininity or that had showed that I had grown as a woman. I hated it because I felt like that could give someone a reason to take advantage of me, or that could give someone a reason to say, well, she's looking a certain way, then she's asking for it. Like, that's just, and that's just the way that it was in my head. And so I would avoid at all costs to wear anything that was fitting or like that showed any part of any skin, really. Like, I was completely covered all the time. So yeah, and I don't, now Joulzey did mention at one point like that she has no emotional attachment to the situation. I can completely understand that. Everyone's different. At times I wish I were like that, because even though I don't cry about it, it's in my head constantly, you know, and it's something that I think about more than often, and how it's going to affect my marriage. How is it something, if I have a daughter, or even if a son, you know, is that something that's going to happen to my kids? And if so, how would I deal with it? Should I tell them that mommy has experienced those things? Like, all these thoughts keep running through my mind, because it's not something that I can run away from. It's not something that that I have, that I can just erase in my life. So I definitely wish at some point that I could just have no emotional attachment to it, because I feel like it consumes my brain a lot and it consumes my thoughts. And I just need to find a way to release it. It's never to a point to where I feel depressed or it affects my quality of life, but it's just something that I've learned to manage. And yeah, so yeah, I think the issue with being a victim of rape is that you know that out of a group of women, there's at least two more of you. I think that's the scary part. Or you know that it could happen again at any moment, or you know that that every day you see stuff in the news, and like the girl in I think it was NYU, who walked around for weeks with the mattress that she was raped on until someone did something about it. Like, I think for me, that's the hardest part, is knowing that there's so many more women out there, and men, who are hurting, who are dealing with the same thing you're dealing with. And it's such a terrible thing to have in common with someone. The other day, I was looking at the registered sex offender list for my area, and I live in a very holy people's area. I live with Hasidic Jews, and they're considered, they consider themselves to be a very holy people. And out of, I think it was a list of maybe 12 guys within my area code, men within my area code, and the age range of their victims, they started at 6 years old. The age range. And they're little boys. Some little girls, but mostly little boys. So I think the hard part is knowing that I'm not the only person. At times I wish I were, because I would never want anyone else to experience that type of pain, or experience that type of hurt, or just experience that type of hurt. One that you can never erase, and one that that will have to stay there forever. It's just a sick thing. I'll never understand it. I did a video about learning that my birth father, because I never met him, but learning that my birth father is also a registered sex offender. And his didn't have details about who the victim was, or how, not who, but the age or sex of the victim. But just to know that in itself is just like, dang, like it just won't go away. Like, it baffles me. So what can you do? You live to learn. You learn to live with it. You learn to talk to others, do videos like this, and put the word out there that, you know, you have to make this issue more of a big deal, because our states aren't, our government isn't. There are thousands and thousands of rape kits that go investigated. They just sit there for years and years, and these women are struggling and dealing with these issues that no one finds the necessary need to get these guys, get these women, these people who are doing these crimes, get them off the street. A lot of people on that registered sex offender list, they didn't even get jail time. Nothing. A slap on the wrist. That's all they got. So I just wish that everyone can continue to make this issue, create more awareness about it. If you are a victim, if you are a victim of rape and you have not told anyone, you can always feel free to talk to someone you think that is safe, that will not harm you, that will not use that information against you, and that will protect you. Just know that it is not your fault. Nothing that has happened in that situation was because of you. Nothing that that person decided to do to you was because of something you did, was because of something that you wore, or was because of something that you said. It is your body. You have all the control over it, and they invaded your space, your privacy. So please, if you are a victim of rape or sexual assault, I pray that you get to the point where you can speak to someone. If you want to speak with me, you can always send me a message on Instagram or Twitter. I'll leave my links down below, or you can send me a message through my YouTube message box. I'm more than willing to chat with you guys and to just help you get through this. Yeah, so that's my response to Joulzey's The Aftermath of Being a Rape Victim. I will just make sure you guys check out her video. I will leave it down below, and gotta get more awareness to this issue. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments or questions, please leave those down below in the comment box, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.